So, hi guys, this is going to probably be a little bit longer because I'm intending to stick a bit of video footage that I found on YouTube about these sites at the end with a bit of music. I know I'm not perfect at video editing, unfortunately. I've only got this little program and I can't figure out how to grab music and underline it. I need a different program really. But I'm so fascinated by this. When I found this first, it won't let me. It's gripped me to such an extent that I keep coming back to it. Now, before I go to the St. Michael line, which the alignment is just perfect with the path of the sun at the solstice, by the way, which is St. Michael up there, the sun fighting, on that line at the summer solstice, which is very interesting. For some reason, while I was looking at the St. Michael line and the 7 churches that are built on that thing, and the amazingness of these churches and their history and everything, I kept thinking about Bill Donahue and his Etta Carina lecture. Because the sun is changing and our environment is changing, isn't it? It's very noticeable, and it's being blamed on us and all sorts of stuff, and it's obviously the sun that's changing. And being that the universe is just like the inside of our brain with all these stars forming connections, and Bill Donahue had a huge fascination with Etta Carina and number 7. I've just looked at Etta Carina again, and it's pulsing cyclically, which is also very interesting, and it has brightened in intensity in cyclical intervals over the last few hundred years, and its positioning in the sky is quite interesting as well. I'll just play you a little bit of Bill Donahue here to hear how fascinated he was with this place.
Our sky, yes. Oh, boy, I had help from the peanut gallery here. Okay, let's go to the next one. We don't know for sure if Etta Carina will explode soon, but I guess what we said here for years was, hey, we better keep our eye on this. This is interesting. Now science is saying we had better keep a close eye on it, just in case. Space Telescope Institute in Baltimore. Etta Carina's explosion could be the best star show in the history of modern civilization. I know Ethel likes to look at all the stars, and oh boy, she'll be parked ready. You won't need binoculars for this one, I'll tell you that. So now scientists from around the world are talking about our baby here, Etta Carina. The star bears an eerie resemblance to one in our own galaxy, Etta Carina, which has been burbling and bubbling in the last few centuries, as if getting ready for its own outburst. The observations suggest that Etta Carina, thought to weigh in at about 120 solar masses, could blow up sooner than theorists had thought.
I think she's leading us. She's the little thing at the helm of the ship, and I'll show you why I'm thinking that in a minute. So here's one theory of Etta Carina's ultimate fate is collapsing to form a black hole. Energy released as jets along the axis of rotation forms gamma ray bursts, and you see the toroid forming here. Also, I don't know why that looks like a brain to me with 2 hemispheres, don't ask me. This is just my imagination, I guess, running away with me, but you can see the toroidal forces there, can't you? What an amazing thing. Look at that. And there's the light animation showing the expanding light echo caused by the Eta Carinae eruption in the Carina Nebula. And we know light is information, and it's traveling, and it's connected to all the stars. So that light will send out information to the network of stars everywhere, and also to our star. And it's evident by looking at the other planets that the sun is about to, get an upgrade. And that's what's causing our so-called climate change. It's that information beam from some place in the galaxy, from many places in the galaxy, reaching the sun and communicating to us. So it's interesting where they've placed her and what they named this place. There is no reliable evidence that Eta Carinae being observed or recorded before the 17th century, although Dutch navigator Pieter Keyser described a fourth magnitude star at approximately the correct position around 1595 to 1596, which was copied onto the celestial globes of Petros Palancius and Iolicus Hondius, and 1603 Uranometria of Johann Bayer. The star was also known as the Bayer designations Eta Roboris Caroli, Eta Argus, or Eta Navis. In 1751, Nicholas Louis de Lacaille gave the star Argo Navis and Robor Carolinum a single set of Greek letter Bayer designations with his constellation Argo, and designated 3 areas within Argo for the purposes of using Latin letters designations 3 times over. Eta fell within the keel portion of the ship, which was later to become the constellation Carina. It was not generally known as Eta Carinae until 1879, when the stars of Argo Navis were finally given the epithets of the daughter constellations in the Uranometria Argentina of Gould. So she's at the helm of the ship, and we're the Argonauts, and she's showing the way, look. Isn't that beautiful? And she's pumping and pulsing and sending her light and the information across the universe, hitting our sun as well. So we're having here various eruptions, and she fades away, so we're getting lost, and then she brightens up again, so, we're seeing again as she illuminates the way of the big ship going across the ocean up above. So so we had 1890s eruptions here, 1827 to 1837, then she goes darker again, and this brings us to the 20th century, where here at the bottom we'll see a sudden doubling of brightness was observed in 1998 till 1999, bringing it back to naked eye visibility. During the 2014 spectroscopic event, the apparent visual magnitude became brighter than magnitude 4.5. The brightness does not always vary consistently at different wavelengths, and does not always exactly follow the 5.5-year cycle, so there's a cycle as well. Radio, infrared, and space-based observations have expanded coverage of Eta Carinae across all wavelengths and revealed ongoing changes in the spectral energy distribution. In July 2018, Eta Carinae was reported to have the strongest colliding wind shock in the solar neighborhood. Observations with the new star satellite gave much higher resolution data than the earlier Fermi gamma-ray space telescope. Using direct focusing, source of non-thermal X-rays varies with the orbital phase of the binary star system and the photon index. So since 2018 we're ramping up again, right? So looks like something's happening up there that's influencing our sun, Michael, in the sky. But oh yay, let's blame the bad humans for all of this. It's obviously our fault. It can't be anything else. Now this is very interesting, because of course, you know, they're telling you here, oh, it's just coinkydink. All of this is just coinkydink. These old people, they just didn't know what the hell they were talking about, why they, and there was loads of churches around anyway, so there's no significance here at all. So the St. Michael's line is a postulated ley line connecting monasteries dedicated to the Archangel Michael. Oh, that's another thing. In Greek, this word angel is aga. So it's got a double G, but because they can't, due to pronunciation problems, they change. If that happens in Greek, the first G changes to an N, hence the angel. But in reality, it reads aga. I thought that was interesting as well. Archangel. That's how it's written anyway. So the monasteries are dedicated to the Archangel Michael in Europe and in the Middle East. The aligned monasteries include Skellig Michael in Ireland, St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall, UK, Mount Saint-Michel in Normandy, France, Sacra di Saint-Michel, Italy, Chiesa di San Galagno in Italy, Tempios di San Michele de Perugia in Italy, Sanctuary di San Michele de Gargano in Italy, Delphi, Greece, Island of Delos in Greece, Sumi, Greece, Kurion, Cyprus, and Mount Carmel in Israel. And there's a really interesting story to this attached as well. This is where the whole thing starts, right? The term is also used to refer a similar alignment of sites linked to St. Michael in the UK. And the story related here to Mount Carmel has got the 7 encoded, as well as 3.5 years. So 3.5 years being half the 7 years of tribulation, and then seven attempts to change the weather there, which indicates obviously the 7 churches, the 7 points within your body before illumination, within the tribulation period of 7 years, right? The term is also used to refer to a similar alignment of sites linked to Saint Michael in the UK. Another interesting thing is that the sacred line is perfectly aligned with the sunset on the day of the Northern Hemisphere's summer solstice. Yeah, that's not a coinkydink. As with other ley lines, no scientific evidence indicates that the alignment was planned and meaningful, making the claims pseudoscientific, but commonly reported at these sites. Yeah, we're so pseudoscientific, aren't we? It's just can't be because of this. Physicist Luca Amendola noted that the deviation of these sites from the loxodrome, that's the loxodrome. So the loxodrome is a navigational rhumb line. Rhumb or loxodrome is an arc crossing all meridians of longitude at the same angle, that is, a path with constant bearing as measured relative to true north. It's just coincident. That allegedly connects some ranges between 14 kilometers and 42 kilometers. I'd say that pretty close for people back then to put them on these points. The alignment is likely to be a coincidence, as Europe has a high density of religious buildings and because of the prominence of St. Michael in Christianity. According to legend, the sacred line of St. Michael the angel represents the blows the saint inflicted the devil, sending him to hell. Some also say that it is a reminder from St. Michael that the faithful are expected to be righteous, walking the straight path. Which I would say, it's very symbolic that this is happening on the summer solstice. And let's just have a look at these babies, shall we? Because when I first looked at them, my mind just boggled. So here's the line. It begins here with Stella Maris del Monte Carmelo, Santa Monastery, and they're all monastery, by the way, monasteries. This one was a nunnery, and I believe all the others are different sects of monks that were founded there. So we have this here, Santo Monastero di Taxiarchi Michaele, Sanctuary di San Michele in Italy, Sacra di San Michel in Italy, Mont Saint-Michel in France, St. Michael's Mount just at the edge of England, and Skellig Michael just at the edge of Ireland. Yeah, connecting all of these points. Now wait till you see these. Woof! I mean, come on. If this doesn't gobsmack you, there's something wrong with you, right? The Sacra di San Michel, sometimes known as St. Michael's Abbey, is an architectural complex built on top of Mount Piriciano, situated on the south side of the Susa Valley in the Piedmont region of northern Italy. Founded between the late 10th and early 11th century, the abbey is located along the pilgrimage route that joins Monte Sant'Angelo to the south, in the south of Italy, to Mont Saint-Michel in the north of France. So it's connecting these two countries. That's just mind-boggling. And I've found somebody who's done a tour there, and I'll play that at the end with some music behind it, because it's just enormous, absolutely enormous. And to build it on top of this mountain, and how on earth to get all the stuff up there, yeah? The magnetism of the founder was absolutely amazing, wasn't it? To manifest all of this material up the hill and into this building. Wait till you see it. It's just amazing. Who would go through such trouble? And why? This is San Miguel of Panormitis in Greece. Mont Saint-Michel in France, again very inaccessible location. Huge building on top of a mountain. I bet you there's 7 of these around. Doesn't really say much there. There it is again. And yeah, this is gobsmacking to me. So, Sacra di San Michel. What is certain is that what is now the crypt was built in the late 10th century, as attested by the Byzantine influence in the niches, columns and arches. Sorry, twiddled here with my English, German and other languages. I'm getting a bit mixed up here. According to tradition, this building was constructed by the hermit San Giovanni Vincenzo at the behest of the Archangel Michael, to whom he was particularly devoted, and the building materials which the hermit had collected were transported miraculously to the top of the mountain. Yeah. It's indeed a miracle. You see the hermit there. He must have made himself really magnetic, eh? In addition, it is noted that the cult of St. Michael, the Archangel, who warred with Lucifer, typically bases its churches on pinnacle or hard-to-reach places, for example, Mont Saint-Michel in France. So little is known of the early years of the abbey. What is certain is that what is now the crypt was built in the late 10th century, as attested by the Byzantine influence of the columns. And have I just read this? Yes, I have. Sorry. So the monastery fell into decline, was finally suppressed in 1622, and is now in the care of the Rosminians. It's located on a rocky crag base here, very, very high up. I mean, incredibly high up. It's at the top of the 200. There's a stairway of the dead, flanked by arches and tombs, in which until recently skeletons of dead monks were visible. And at the top of the 243 steps, which adds up to a 9, remarkably, is the marble Porta della Zodiaco, a masterwork of 12th century sculpture. It's the zodiac, yeah. The The complex includes the ruins of the 12th to 15th century monasteries, which had 5 floors. It ends with the Torre della Bel Alda, Tower of the Beautiful Alda. The so-called monks' sepulchre is probably the remains of a chapel reproducing its octagonal plan, the Holy Sepulchre, of Jerusalem. And I just had a look at that thing as well. These places are incredible. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is a church in the Christian quarter of the old city of Jerusalem. According to traditions dating back to the 4th century, contains the 2 holiest sites of Christianity: the site where Jesus was crucified at a place known as Calvary or Golgotha, and Jesus' empty tomb, where he is believed by Christians to have been buried and resurrected. Not only that, but it also contains his cell where they incarcerated him. All these buildings are absolutely enormous. Look, there's Atlantis, look. Absolutely enormous complexes. Crusader graffiti. And you can see the complexity here. So this is the alleged site of Christ's tomb. The slope demolished on the 4th century in order to build the church. The inhumation chamber, the current church, and Golgotha's rock is here. That's him being prepared after his death. Opposite the stone of anointing. This is the alleged stone of anointing. Incredible places. Lots of Greek writing there. Look at that. The architecture is just incredible, isn't it? Here's Jesus with the clock, the zodiac, the 4 axis point, the ascendant, the descendant, the MC, the IC. Here's where he was. This is the prison of Christ before renovation. Chapel of St. Helena. This is a strange ladder that I haven't read upon about. Old depiction. Right. So before I let this run to let you get a glimpse of this place, I found this story very interesting. It's of course the story of Elijah begging for rain, and they encoded 3.5 years as well as the 7. And this is in Mount Carmel, the church at Haifa, the first church to the right that you saw there on that line of St. Michael. And this is dedicated to the nuns. It's the Carmelita nuns that are attached to this this holy church. And listen to the story.
Is that, first of all, remember when we were in Mount Tabor, there was a king whose name is King Ahab. Do you remember that? There is a king whose name is King Ahab, and he actually married a woman whose name is Jezebel. Do you remember this? And then Jezebel brought with her the pagan worship of Baal. And Baal was the god of agriculture and the god of fertility. And a lot of the people of Israel were farmers. And so they started turning away from God and turning to Baal as the one that would send the rain. And so there was a prophet at that time whose name is Elijah. And Elijah was very upset. He had a zeal and passion for God. He was so upset that the people of Israel started to depart from God and started worshiping Baal. When the people of Israel were worshiping Baal as the one that would send the rain so that they would have a good harvest, our God is a very jealous God. And so what did God do? He closed the heavens and there was no way for 3.5 years. And so while they were worshiping Baal and asking Baal to send the rain, God closed the heavens and there was no rain in this land for 3.5 years, and so there was famine in the land of Israel.
I hope this is not too bad for you. What I want you to think about while you're listening to this is the following. I've been binge listening to this here, Giving Voice to the Wisdom of the Ages. Beautiful narration. The guy is an absolute angel who's reading this. But in particular, Robert A. Russell has fascinated me. His books are just really incredible. And what he's saying in there. And you know, the same with Neville Goddard. If you think about this, and especially listening to Robert R. Russell, what was Elijah doing? He was doing the same as what Robert A. Russell is doing, yeah? When you hear what he's doing here, as well as the events surrounding him, you know, going on his knees and bowing down 7 times, it's becoming this magnetic being. It's very interesting. I find this very interesting because the encoding of the 3.5, the 7, and you know, we're coming to the end of this 7-year period, and we're putting the way back together again.
During the days of King Ahab. And so Elijah was a prophet. And he said one day, now I will pray for rain. And so Elijah was in the cave. We are going to be visiting the cave today. He was inside the cave, and it says in the Bible that he faced towards the Mediterranean Sea. Faced towards the Mediterranean Sea, and he put his head between his knees. And then he prayed to God to send the rain. And he had a servant with him. And he told his servant, go out and see if there is any rain. And the servant went out and he saw this blue sky. Blue sky, he went back and told Elijah, no rain. And so Elijah again put his head between his knees and prayed again the 7th time. And then while he sent again his servant, and the servant says, no rain. He did it again the 3rd time, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. At the 7th time, his servant Gehazi said to him, I can see a cloud the size of a man's fist. And Elijah said, I can hear the sound of rain. And so he told his servant, go and tell King Ahab to go back to his chariot city, which is in Megiddo, to go back to his city, or else the rain will overtake him. And sure enough, then the rain started to come.
Did you catch that? I can hear the sound of rain. He imagined hearing the sound of rain. Now, without wanting to be offensive to any Christians out there, but isn't that what the Indians do when they pray to God as well? Because we all pray to the same God in the same way. And Elijah never gave up 7 times. The 7 chakras. Do your inner work. Rise through the levels. Never giving up. Keeping the faith. Keeping the faith. And that is exactly what Robert R. Russell says here. Because you become a magnet if you keep the faith. Keep the faith. I gotta laugh. I just got a fright. I was rolling a cigarette while I paused to think about whether to carry on playing this or not. And my duster fell from my commode, my thing where I keep my, my cups and stuff inside. I can't think what that thing is called. And the duster just fell off, with which I've been dusting off the cobwebs, the spider webs that have been growing exponentially this year here in my house. And it's so symbolic that that thing would just come down right now. So I'll play it a little bit longer.
Sure enough, then the rain started to come. Now we are here in this very special place. Why is this a special place? Here we hear Elijah. Elijah prayed. First time was not answered. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. At the seventh time, the heavens opened and the rain started to come down. Now some of you here may have a prayer in your heart that you've been asking the Lord for many years, and it has not been answered. Some of the people that we may know may be asking for something that, as you have been asking for the Lord to do something for many years, and it has not been answered. This is the place to pray. Right inside the cave, we will ask the Lord, Lord, give us a breakthrough.
So, my saga was my my pension and me getting fretful and getting really, really fretful and having a very, very dark moment over this weekend, because I had only 480 euros left in my bank account, and there was a huge electricity bill on my table, right? Huge. And it wasn't correct. I knew it couldn't have been correct because I'd rang through with a reading, and evidently they hadn't taken in account this reading. So on Monday I ring up and I say, look, this can't be right, and I did give you a reading, and this says estimate, and this says estimated 4 times. So the lady, they couldn't find my phone call that I knew I'd made. But I hadn't made it to her department, so I must have rung a different company. So she took me through the reading process again. It's a bit complicated because it's got daytime and nighttime readings. And it turns out that actually I don't owe them, they owe me. And I cried so much. And the woman said, her name was Kay, which was quite cute. And Kay said, well, you better sit down because I've got good news for you. This is your lucky Monday. And she came out with this huge number. And I thought, oh my God, that's just taken my fear away. This fear of immediate doom and gloom. And we both laughed together, and, she did all the process of reversing this, and hopefully I'll have it within 10 days, she said. So, hey guys, keep the faith, is all I say. Keep the faith. I then heard a little voice inside my head that said to me, go outside in your garden, tend your garden. So I cut this big tree down in the front garden on Monday, even though I had only slept a couple of hours and I was really, really tired, but absolutely determined. I was going to shift this tree, and I've taken it to bits in the last couple of days, and I feel there's been a shift in me after this weekend. And when I found Claudio's video, it was kind of a confirmation that I was really feeling that thing that you saw in the horoscope, in the zodiac. And so this is all coming together for me nicely, including the duster falling off my cupboard. I leave you now with these incredible pictures of that church. And sorry, I'll come back to Mount Carmel at some other time. I just thought it was interesting that this is how the line starts, with this nice story, which we're just repeating over and over and over in our own lives throughout the centuries. It's always the same story, guys. think of the magical way of the hermit, eh? Look at that. Look at the height. interestingly, 2 locations were used by Hollywood movies. One for Star Wars, here, Skellig Michael, and the other one, the main one, for Roberto de Eco's In the Name of the Rose. that music paused spot on here. And look what it's showing you. Looks almost like Eta Carina, doesn't it? All seems to fit perfectly. So, may the Archangel Michael be your guiding light. May you become as unshakable and magnetic as Michael, the Archangel, whilst you are walking that narrow path, that narrow line of faith and resurrection.